Welcome back guys, this is an Elementalist guide video number 6 in the series and the last of the core professions. Something not many people know about me is that I was a diehard LA fan back in the days. She was my first GWAM, I put thousands of hours into maxing titles with her, tons of solo farming too. We can say I've done pretty much everything with LA. Even in 2021 she has the most max titles of all my chars, so they still have a special place in my heart, so I tried my best and show you the beauty of this class. Let's start with some basic stuff. Elementalists have 5 attributes. Their primary is energy storage, which gives them more and more energy pool with each rank. Then there is fire magic, probably the most DPS oriented of all, and also skills which can burn enemies to death. Next one is earth magic. This is great for tanking purposes. Then we have water magic for snare, slowing down enemies, and finally air magic with extra armor penetration on spells and blinding mobs. So pretty much LAs have access to all elements: fire, earth, water and air. Don't tell Captain Planet, he might be jealous. Anyway, highest energy pool of all professions, weak armor, only 60 base armor as all costers classes, and their HP is not that high either, usually somewhere between 450 and 500. I'd say 90% of the time I recommend using a 40/40 set, for general PV and hard mode content, and maybe the leftover 10% should be an enchant modded staff to extend enchant if you are solo farming, and the shield set when extra armor is necessary. One of the best things about Elementalist is the already mentioned high energy pool. This and their great energy management let them spam many high energy skills very easily, even multiple 25 energy skills too with the proper build. And when you see LAs running out of mana, remember they are doing something wrong. LAs have a lot of skills to prevent this happening. Furthermore, I think this is a class capable of at least 4 different game styles. You can choose from clean DPS like fire magic builds, you can be a tank with an earth magic build, you can be a hybrid of DPS and party support with water and air magic. Plus, let's not forget about that allies can heal and protect allies with particular ammo builds. They have many AoE skills, can damage big groups at the same time, this is also important. Okay, these were the pros, let's see the cons now. Interrupts and dazed, the very typical anti-coaster effects. And guess what, if you spam a lot of skills, you'll be an easy target for mesmers or rangers for example. Sadly, fools have bigger armor ratings in hard mode and allies suffer against those. For instance, a ranger or a warrior will reduce a great chunk of your base spell damage, and this sucks. Yeah, I know air magic has 25% armor penetrations, but I've always felt like this as a big disadvantage. And last but not least, I have to include AoE damage on this side too, because on one hand it gives nice DPS, on the other hand fools will try to scatter and cause kind of a big chaos, unless you use knockdown or snare like crazy and make them stay for a while. Now let's see what secondaries could be useful for LAs. To be honest, they don't really need any, but looking at the meta builds, I'd say Asa, Monk and Mesmer are good choices. Assassin for shadow stepping into groups and exploding them as a fire magic nuker, or even Dagger spamming till you bore to death. Monk is great for tanking, protting, healing, very often used in speedclears, and Mesmers are good for different solo farms. Luckily there are many ways to become better and more efficient playing in LA. First of all, the good old tip for costers, you use the 40/40 weapon sets. This is simple, if you can use spells more often, you'll do more damage. Next tip, intensity. This is an underrated skill in my opinion, but a great way to increase your DPS. Always use it before your highest damage skill and focus on the lowest armor enemy. And another great tip, Eben Battle Standard of Honor. Very useful for LAs, it gives plus 15 damage on armor respecting damage. And this can be a game changer for LAs and also helps your whole group. Next tip, bring some cracked armor if you can, add to your heroes if your build is taken, this can greatly increase your DPS again. My next tip for you guys, if you rely on AoE damage, always bring snare skills. Okay, so what's a snare? Like defreeze, you move like a dwarf, or even knockdown skills. The only thing that matters here is to keep fools in that particular area as long as possible. The longer the higher your DPS is. Moving on, you will see that some of my builds require melee range. I've said that LAs have low armor, so what do we do now? We bring some armor boost, like I'm unstoppable or a defensive set, something to help your healers out. Of course, if you don't have to be in melee range, play smart and stay away from trouble. You can even use the Glip of Concentration if there are a lot of interrupts in the area, or Mantra of Resolve, and the good old Beep Necro is always there to give you some easy energy regen, but always bring at least one energy management skill. Lastly, don't overuse the overcost skills, they lower the energy bar too much usually, and maybe bring 1 or 2 skills but not more. And now we reach the meta builds. The number 1 meta ele build for me is the Assassin's Promise nuker. It has both single target and AoE damage, has 2 knockdown skills, can do crippled, burning, can summon an extra ally, can finish mobs quickly and recharge all your skills with the elite. This is the one I've used for Gwem for many years, never let me down. If you are bored with the fire skills, feel free to mix things up and add the air magic or earth magic skills too. But that no costing time meteor shower is so great, I wouldn't do that personally. Emo is our next build. People call this Emo because they sum the letter E and Mo. Honestly, this is a true speed clear material, but can be used for everyday PvE too. Just make sure you have enchantment mods and Essence of Celerity. They need a renewal, the elite lasts forever, and you can bond the whole group, spam heal or prot when needed. My next build is a Dagger spam fire magic hybrid. Starburst is great for extra damage and energy gain too. You know, the Dagger chain is energy heavy, the elite can return some of the energy lost, and you can add low to strike too. Plus the beep hero will help you once you are sub 50%. I was hesitating to show more builds in the meta section, but I felt like the rest is not good enough, although they can be fun to play. Generally speaking, the armor respecting builds and the lower DPS than the previous 3, but guys, don't let this hold you back, go on and experiment. Savannah hit a classic fire magic build. I wonder if this elite has the highest DPS on a single target, very much possible if you ask me. At 16 fire magic, just in 5 seconds, this can do over 300 damage against coasters. Obviously you have to find a way to stop fools from fleeing. Meteor is a good way, for example. Next one on my list is Thunderclap. This is like you get a bit of everything. The elite can interrupt fools, cause weakness and cracked armor. The Glip does burning, which we use out with Tenai's Wind, and we have blindness too. Unsteady ground, finally something different, an earth magic build. The elite skill to shut down melees. Churning Earth will knock down all fools in hard mode since they always have increased movement speed. If 2 knockdowns wouldn't be enough, there is Earthquake, just to make sure every living creature stays on the ground. Try to use intensity before the latter to maximize your damage. YOLO is the only way, that's what the creator of this build believed. Jump into a big group and blow up the whole area. Easy to use, decent damage, but let your monks know you behave like this before going into the fight blindly. Gust, typically a PvP skill, but fun to play in PvE too. This build requires a partner, but you can use Gust on yourself too, and does double damage and knockdown moving on attacking fools. Use Great Dwarf weapon on your teammates and enjoy the show. As I've said at the beginning of this feed, Elementalists have great energy management. The next build is a great example for that. The Elite and Fire attunement let the user cost a lot of skills without having to worry about the energy loss. You can even try Water Magic, Earth Magic or Air Magic version too. A very similar build, but Double Dragon is the Elite. Try to stay close to your enemies and roast them as much as possible. The Elite is a double cost skill, use it on melees too for even more damage. Moving on, Invoke Lightning is our next build, typical air magic build, decent damage, some minor overcost effect, and that's it. And now we arrive at the solo farm section. You will see most of the solo builds rely on earth magic. Stoneflesh Aura is the MVP for allies, reduces damage like nothing else. This and the Obsidian Flash together are enough to be able to tank a high number of fools with no sweat. First on my list is the old school Waitier farm. I guess no introduction is needed. Whenever there are special event drops, come here and farm the Mesmers. Great drops and easy to use build. The next is an Underworld Smite-Crawler build to farm Ectos. Heroes are necessary to clear the chamber and reach the Icy Waits area. As soon as you are done, flag them and all the drops are yours again. With the Glip you can even fight skeletons too. Destroyer core farm, wait 3 minutes, make a perfect ball and spike with whirling defense. This can be used to farm Anids, decors, event items too. The next farm is very beginner friendly yet profitable. A lot of feathers, feather crests, unneeded armor pieces, even bones. Let them come close to you, wait a bit and spike, quick and easy. And the last farm has to be the Winds of Change Ministerial Commendation farm. Before someone would ask me in the comment section, every profession can do this. Highly recommended. I won't go into details in this LA guide, but this will be a standalone guide soon. But you can get tons of unneeded golds, tomes, commendations, but sadly it requires roughly 2 hours of questing in the storyline, but 100% worth it. Alright folks, we are getting close to the end of this feed. Roll in speed clears now, answering with one word, hi. To say a little more, emo and obiflash. As an emo, your task is to keep the whole group alive with bonds, prots and heals. There is an emo role in Domain of Vanquish and one in the Underworld too. Both of them are very similar. As long as you have either renewal up, you get shitload of energy back. This way you can maintain lots of bonds on people. Allies are also used as T4 tanks in the Underworld, but as far as I know this role is mostly taken by Mesmers these days, but allies can do this role as well. In summary, Elementalists can be great tanks, have massive damage, can heal, protect or bond whole groups, can solo farm efficiently, but are somewhat limited by armor respecting spells. They can also knock down enemies, burn them to death or even slow them down. A classic profession which obviously has its ups and downs, but always will be special to those who like the nuker roles. That's it for today folks. If you enjoyed the vid, please hit the like button or you can subscribe to the channel. And as always, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.